message from the disciples of Yasser Arafat to the disciples of Nelson Mandela to present a proud people living in exile and under a deep apartheid regime, to honor your struggle, your existence, and your solidarity. With those words, I am echoing the love of millions of Palestinian sisters and brothers. It's from the memory of our great leaders, Nelson Mandela and Yasser Arafat, from South Africa, the land of resistance and preservance, the land of justice and equality, that we get one of our main sources of inspiration. The long history of solidarity between our nations, the values of national liberation, the sacred value to live and to love, will continue to inspire us as we proceed on our path of resilience. Dear comrades, I am bringing you a message from Al-Quds, Jerusalem, the eternal capital of Palestine. As you know, a few days ago, Mr. Trump, the US President, decided to recognize it as the capital of the State of Israel. Here I ask, who is Mr. Trump to determine the status of Jerusalem? How he could be led from the nose by the racist and fascist government of the State of Israel. Just as 100 years ago, a British colonialist called James Balfour decided to give Palestine a country that was not his, to a movement that did not belong to our land. Today, he decided to give Jerusalem to Israel. No, Mr. Trump, Jerusalem is not yours to give anyone. Jerusalem is ours. Jerusalem is sacred. Jerusalem is sacred for the three monotheistic religions. Jerusalem is an occupied territory under international law. From South Africa, I tell the President of the United States of America that he is encouraging the apartheid that exists in the city of Jerusalem, and he is protecting the Israeli occupation, Israel, which is behaving like the bully of the neighborhood, which is not ready to abide or to respect any international law. I am also telling him that with the efforts of all the peoples of this world, we will turn Jerusalem into the global capital of freedom and justice, the global capital of solidarity, where Palestinian boys and girls, Christians and Muslims will raise their national flags over the walls, churches, and minarets of the holy city. Dear brothers and sisters, you know that we are not alone in our struggle against this hegemonic and colonial domination. The same struggle was shared with many resilient nations that challenged slavery and oppression, from the victorious lands of Vietnam to Cuba and South Africa, through all of Africa and Latin America. You all reminded us that we were not alone, as we will stood together against colonialism. Though today it seems that we are the last remaining people on earth suffering from the direct effects of a colonial power. This is why today I am asking you to help us to turn the world's solidarity with Palestinian people into an opportunity for the international community to take decisive action in order to end decades of Israeli impunity. It's time to finally implement the same policies that succeeded in South Africa and the same non-violent methods used by solidarity movements and nations all over the world. Yes, my dear comrades, it's high time for sanctions to be imposed on those who violate the inalienable rights of the Palestinian people. It's high time for products of the illegal occupiers to be banned from international markets, and for principled organizations and people to divest from those profiting from occupation and colonialization and apartheid. And here we appreciate Mr. Mantashi when he raised the red card to the Israeli occupation and to the Israeli racism and fascism. We appreciate all those initiatives delegitimizing the occupation is a must and it's a duty. Dear comrades and brothers and sisters, the connection between the shared struggle of the Palestinian and the African nations, and especially South Africa, is cemented in the hearts and minds of every Palestinian and African. I recall also that President Mahmoud Abbas described Mandela as the symbol of freedom from colonialism and occupation. And this is one of the reasons why we turn to you for advice, as we have appreciated your efforts in assisting us to achieve our national unity and national reconciliation. Please allow me to say a few words on national unity. We are Fatah and Hamas and all political factions. We are one family, and and here I am talking on behalf of the Central Committee of Fatah. We have no other choice only to achieve national unity and reconciliation, to build a unified national consensus about the resistance and about the future shape of our political regime, to have one authority, one gun, and one law and one police. We are sure that our brothers in Hamas will take this seriously, and in order to advance towards the national unity and the national reconciliation. Dear comrades, today Palestinians living under the worst and one of the last occupation in the world, and here in the spirit of Mandela and Oliver Tambo, it's alive in the hearts and minds of every Palestinian and every nations that awaits freedom and justice. Similarly, as hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been incarcerated by the occupying power, Mandela spent 27 years in white-run prisons. And also I would like to tell you, I myself spent 17 years in Israeli jails. But still I am inspired by Mandela, still strong and still ready to fight. Dear comrades, allow me here to seize the opportunity to welcome the recommendation of the National Policy Conference of the African National Congress on downgrading South Africa's representation to Israel. And we hope that also the same here will be. We believe such a step will place pressure on Israel to put an end to its illegal occupation and its persistent violations of international law. And we appreciate all the efforts to delegitimize the occupation. Our Palestinian people and leadership will highly appreciate any further adoptions of sanctions and policies against Israel and against the occupation. Thank you for your continued devotion to the Palestinian cause as we are getting ready to celebrate Christmas in the land of Jesus Christ. Please allow me to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I wish you a successful conference. Long live the spirit of Yasser Arafat and Nelson Mandela. Long live the friendship and solidarity between the PLO and the ANC. Long live ANC united and strong. Long live the friendship and solidarity between South Africa and Palestine. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much for that fiery message from the PLO. Comrades, we will now take two messages, one from Algeria, from a member of the Politburo of the FNL from Algeria, Mr. Abdeslam Shego. I hope my pronunciation does not butcher your name, comrade. And then the last message will be, as I said, from ZANU-PF, but In fact, it will be delivered by the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Comrade Simbarashe Mumbengegwi, who's the Secretary for External Affairs and a member of the Central Committee and Politburo of ZANU-PF. Welcome, comrades. Abdeslam.
Excellency, Mr. President, dear comrades, brothers and sisters, I am particularly happy to be among you at this historical conference of the African National Congress. As a member of the political bureau of the FLN party in Algeria, I am pleased to deliver the message of Dr. Abbas, Secretary General of the Front of the Liberation National, to the Secretary General of the ANC. I quote, Mr. Secretary General and dear brother, allow me first of all to express on behalf of the political leadership of the party our thanks for your invitation to attend this important 54th conference of the ANC. Our participation with you is a testimony of the particularly special relation of camaraderie and brotherhood woven in active solidarity and struggle. Dear brothers, the bonds established throughout history between our two parties, born from our common struggle against colonialism and apartheid and for freedom and dignity of our peoples. Nevertheless, this struggle remains incomplete so long that other peoples are suffering under the yoke of occupation and repression like our brothers in Western Sahara and Palestine. From this comes our historical mission to pursue hand in hand, FLN and ANC, the imperative need to concretize the legitimate aspiration of our people and strengthen our common action of solidarity for an emancipated Africa. In this regard, I would like to reaffirm our strong and determined will to consolidate further our mission, as usual, in a common approach and whose implementation could be defined in joint cooperation between our two parties. While we salute all the delegates at this conference, allow me to express once again our heartfelt wishes for the success of your deliberation. God bless ANC, God bless South Africa, and God bless Africa.
Thank you very much. Thank you, comrade. Good message. Thank you so much. How are you? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. You still remember our story about the Pope? Thank you very much, my friend. Please. Thank you, General. Yeah.
Amanda! Amanda! Pamberine Chimurenga. Thank you. Madam Chair, President Zuma, the National Executive Committee, delegates, let me begin by thanking the African National Congress for inviting us to this very important conference, and also thanking them for sending a very high delegation, high-level delegation to our extraordinary Congress, which concluded yesterday. Madam Chair, I know you had a very hectic time to be able to be back in time for this important meeting, and we want to thank you very much, for the message that you delivered, and in the same respect, thank President Zuma for sending the chair of the organization. We were greatly honored. President Mnangagwa, who was inaugurated only yesterday as the President and the First Secretary of ZANU-PF, has sent a delegation consisting of 4 members of the ZANU-PF Politburo. And this underlines the importance with which he attaches the relationship between the African National Congress and ZANU-PF. Before the delegation left, President Mnangagwa, said, please go and tell our brothers and sisters that while countries cannot choose their neighbors, if Zimbabwe were to choose a neighbor, they would choose South Africa. If ZANU-PF had to choose a ruling party in South Africa, ZANU-PF would choose the African National Congress. Indeed, this underlines the very special relationship between our two parties and our two countries. Our relationship comes from a very long way. Not only do we share common history, common culture, and common social intercourse, we intermarry quite often between our two countries. And, but the most important aspect that I want to underline in this message of support and solidarity is that the relationship, as President Zuma has already alluded to in his very, very powerful address, which Your Excellency would like to thank you. I'm sure all of us will want a copy of it as a reference document in other situations. President Zuma has already referred to our joint battles in the trenches and the battlefields of Zimbabwe, Wanki, Spolilo, and so on, where both revolutionary cadres from our two countries fought a common enemy side by side, and that's sealing a very strong bond, sealed by the mutual mingling of the blood, the precious blood of our revolutionary fighters. This is a very, very important period of our cooperation as a liberation movement. The African National Congress has always been an extremely reliable and committed ally, guided by the highest revolutionary principles. In the joint struggle, this being the centenary year of President Tambo, I think it would be appropriate for all of us to pay tribute to his very insightful and wise leadership, which sealed the bonds between our two countries and our two liberation movements. The relationship between ourselves, the ANC and South Africa, continued to intensify and strengthen even after independence. We all know how Zimbabwe came under intense attack from the Western powers as a result of our revolutionary land reform program. Tony Blair actually wanted to send an invading force to Zimbabwe. But South Africa stood firm behind Zimbabwe at all times. We all remember, under the SADC framework, the facilitation process initiated by former President Mbeki, taken up by former President Mutlanti, and finally concluded by His Excellency President Zuma. We thank you, sir. We were in a very difficult situation, and without the intervention of the ANC in South Africa, we would have found ourselves in an extremely difficult situation. Even in recent times, when we undertook our Operation Restore Legacy, President Zuma, as chair of SADC, together with the chair of the SADC organ, President Lorenzo of Angola, kept a briefing watch on the development in our country. And they played their role, leading to what we can only call a very satisfactory conclusion of the succession issue in our ruling party. Now, what I want to underline is that this operation was at no stage targeted at our revolutionary icon, His Excellency, former President R.G. Mugabe. No. He has always been our leader. He has always been the father of our revolution. The intention, as we all now know, was to rescue his legacy and the revolutionary legacy of ZANU-PF, which was now being hijacked by a clique of reactionary opportunists who wanted to send the legacy of the Zimbabwe revolution up in smoke. And the situation has now been brought to normal. As I've said, we now have President Mnangagwa, who has committed himself to turning around the economy of our country. So what I've sought to do really is to pay tribute to the African National Congress as comrades in arms, as trusted allies who have demonstrated over the years that real friendship is seen in action and not in words. And I would like to say, on behalf of President Mnangagwa, that we very much appreciate this relationship between our party and the African National Congress and between our two countries. In conclusion, let me join the African National Congress in extending our support and solidarity to the struggles in Western Sahara and Palestine, and to continue to support their struggle for independence and self-determination, because it is their right. It is their right. We also know that our brothers and sisters in Cuba are still suffering under the American embargo. I'm sure all of us here supported them without qualification, and will continue to support and express our solidarity. So let me wish you all a very, very successful conference. We know very serious and important issues are under consideration, and we are here to learn as much as we can. Already, we have learned a lot through the very transparent manner in which you proceed to renew your leadership. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Good message and good report. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I want us to continue talking about the PowerPoint. Thank you so much for a good presentation.
Thank you. I must go to Zimbabwe now and see what is
Let me say bye-bye before you move. Let me say goodbye. Thank you very much. So you did arrive, eh?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Amandla! Comrades, we are just going to acknowledge the other messages from other fraternal groups and representatives that are here, and I will just run through them. We do have from the BNF in Botswana, Dr. Prince Dibiela, who is the Vice President. We also have comrade from BDP in Botswana, Mpho Balopi, who's the Secretary General. From Swaziland, Pudemo, we have Mlungisi Makanya, the Secretary General. We have from the Swedish Social Democratic Party, a representative whose name we don't have. We also have from Hamas in Palestine, Mohammed Nazal from the Politburo. From another comrade from Hamas is Maher Obaid from the Politburo, as well as a comrade from Fatah, Mr. Majed Al-Fajani, the Secretary General of the Revolutionary Committee. And then from Senegalese socialists, we have a comrade whose name I find very difficult to read, Georges Sis. And from Atlanta, we have National Secretary, Masters Carlton Augustus, Ambassador. Those are other representatives from the international community that are here. And we welcome all of them, and we hope that they will enjoy the time here with us, especially because after this session, they will be free to participate in a program that they will be led in while we are proceeding to closed sessions. Comrades, before we break for dinner, I have a few announcements. The usual lost and found. An ID smart card for Eugene Simon Dumo. Please, if anyone has picked it up, take it to Comrade Freddy. We have 2 pairs of sunglasses, 2 pairs of reading glasses, BMW khaki, black coat, brown wallet, blue tea flask. I'm sure you're a veteran there. The license of M. Linden. Then, I don't know this. And then an ID card of Monet P. Linden. Somebody has lost a pouch with personal things from the Northern Cape, or it's the same Comrade Linden, Monet, Phil. Please, comrades, also help us find a delegate bag with somebody's medication inside. So if you find a bag that doesn't belong to you and you find medication in it, please, can you give it to Comrade Freddy at the Lost and Found desk. Comrades, can we break for dinner and come back? Oh, comrades, we were not aware, sorry. The EPRDF from Ethiopia is also represented, and we welcome them. Comrades, I think an hour and a half should do. Is it okay? So, asibuye ngo 9:30. No, see, announcer. I'm saying he lost and found. Ayiko Latina. It look for Comrade Freddy. Mono Freddy, no more. He's a Comrade Western called Freddy. He's very tall. Comrade Freddy, where are you? Comrade Freddy, please identify yourself. Fred. Comrade Freddy. Upu Freddy. Gcinwa, upu Freddy. Ukhona. Ngifuna uFredi. Angimboni yes. Buzani abantu be-security ngaphandle.